Hi, Charmaine.
Hey, everybody. So excited to be here. Your
Hey.
cat gives me life, by the way.
Good.
It's a beautiful cat. So I shared my story on the group chat I think actually yesterday. And I mean, it's a crazy story. Like I said, I accidentally bought the book.
Accidentally, am I remembering that?
Yeah, I accidentally bought the book. I left my finger a little too long on the screen and happened to be over the buy now button. But hey, I read the book and it's amazing. So I will be leaving a review about that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So I do have a question, and originally I wasn't going to come on live today. I was going to wait to see, this is my first live. But in hearing everyone else's stories and realizing that a lot of the questions they had, I had as well, I realized that my question could be something that someone else has as well. So the question is,
awesome. Beautiful.
How do you give yourself permission to continue on or to move on with an idea when you personally don't feel like what your audience would believe is the archetype? So if I have an image in my mind of what my audience wants to be, I don't think I'm that person.
Okay, so is your question that you don't think your audience thinks you match the archetype, or that you recognize that you aren't like the person that you serve? So are you projecting onto the other person, or do you just not think that you're the target market? Talk that out a little bit with me.
Sure. I would say it's a little bit of both. Like I'm sure I'm projecting because no one's told me that I'm not that person yet. But if I give a little bit about, and I've killed many ideas for the same reason, right? It's a great idea. It's something I'm excited about. And I think, oh man, this is what this audience cares about. I don't fit that. The idea, if I want to target people that are very high performance, successful, I'm like getting there. I'm not there yet. So how can I be an authority in that space?
Okay, so it's important for you to not try to be something that you aren't, but you can still serve people who are not like you without compromising who you are today. So, I mean, I have lots of clients that are more successful than me, right? I have students who have gone on to build 9-figure companies, right? I've never done that before, but the minute that I try to be something that I'm not, I can't serve them anymore, because more than 50% of how you're going to serve anyone is just your own perspective. It's the unique set of experiences that you've had that got you to this point. And if you can effectively serve someone who has got to their point in a different way, then it doesn't matter how you got there or where you're going next. It just matters that you're able to serve them based on your unique set of circumstances. And so you can own that. Like, you can own that I have the experiences that have allowed me to have this perspective that helps someone else get a different way of looking at their body, their business, their mind, however it is that you're serving them. So do you have a specific product or a specific person in mind that you're wrestling with this right now? Because if so, we can get a little bit more specific on how to overcome this.
So I've had two, and I'm going to choose one, but both of them I disqualified for the same reason, even though I was equally as excited about them at the beginning.
Okay.
At the risk of exposing a little too much about my life, I'll talk to the first one. The audience was the LGBT person, right?
Okay.
And the concept here is that big brands slap a rainbow on everything, and we flock to buy it. So build an organization for that person, by that person.
Okay.
That 100% me. That works, right? I fit the archetype, not a problem. But the things that person cares about, I don't always fit. I mean, the fact that I'm in capitalism.com is something that may not go over well with that audience.
And here we are.
Here we are.
So all right. So what I just heard you say is that you match the person that you're serving, but you don't have all the same beliefs, biases, or preferences of the stereotypical person who meets that archetype. Is that right?
Right.
Perfect. That means you should absolutely go down this path. Now, here's why. With the world as polarized as it is, we have an unconscious belief that we're segmented into groups and that our groups should think just like us. The way that we create change in the world is realizing that when we're aligned on one thing and we're not aligned on another thing, we can still absolutely care about each other, respect each other, and be aligned on the things that we care about. And that's going to be the next wave of our evolution as people. Right now, we're seeing like the pinnacle of groupthink. You're in one group, I'm in this group, and we're against one another because we don't agree on everything. We're going to get over that over the next few years and realize that we can be pro something and still disagree on certain things. And you can lead that change. You can lead that in this community. And there are millions of people who already think that way, but do not have a voice because they're afraid to speak out, because they're afraid of the anti-group thing. So if you sit there and you say, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community and I want to make a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
It might be 75% of the group is like, weird. And then there's 25% who are like, hell, fucking finally, yes. The good news is there's 100 million people active in that community, and you only need like a few thousand of them to think you're the shit for you to be a multimillionaire.
That's a good point.
So I'll tell you this. A lot of people find my work because they're members of a great community called Amazing Selling Machine, or at amazing.com. And amazing.com is a $5,000 course specifically about selling on Amazon. And over the last 7 years or so, I've been like their number 3 affiliate all time, something like in the top 5 all time. I speak on all their stages. The founder's a good friend of mine. We're really tight. Well, in the last launch, or maybe it was 2 launches ago, there was someone who just ran away with number 1. I mean, nobody could touch him. And I had never heard of this guy. I'm like, I've been a top amazing.com affiliate for years. Who's this schmuck who I've never heard of, who's just like running away with the launch, number 1? Like, what is going on here? That person was a new entrepreneur who started a group of how to start a business specifically for people who were Muslim. That's it. So like that community isn't known in America for being great business leaders, but it was the first person to take a stand in that community for people who resonated with that. And the Muslim community doesn't believe in debt, so they think a little bit differently than most Americans. They think about their community differently than we do. It doesn't make it better or worse. It's just a different language that other people are not used to hearing in their own context. So this gives you, if you're a new entrepreneur who's active in the LGBTQ community, you can get any idea the response that you would have if you were like, I'm a member of this community and I want to make a lot of money. And I believe in serving other people in order to make a lot of money. And I don't like that the government takes half my money. And I want to do this the right way. And so I'm going to be documenting my whole journey. There are not the standard LGBTQ member, but there is a group of that is like, this is me. This is so me. Thank God someone is saying something about this. So it sounds to me like it's perfect. It sounds to me like You have a raving ass community waiting for someone to say, me, like, this person is finally saying something about something that I've wanted my whole life. Thank God.
That's amazing. Wow. Definitely braingasm there. Wow. So I guess then here's a follow-up question. I'm thinking way too far in advance, especially with this idea. I don't think I would want to sell it, right? This is something that's near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
But if you're thinking about building a business that you would want to sell, is it ideal to stay away from lines like that, right? Things that are so polarizing that a business could get in trouble for even wanting to bring that onto their work.
So the answer to this question is know who you are for and ignore who you are against. Right? So I'm considering whether or not I should give you an example that might get me in trouble right now. So well, I'll just say it. We're all transparent here inside the 1%. So my brother's a cop, and my brother is very close to me, right? And I adore my brother. I love my brother. Now, right now, I feel some sensitivity about my brother. Like, I'm worried about my brother right now. You know, I'm worried about riots everywhere, but I'm really worried about my brother. I can be pro my brother and purely pro my brother and not be anti anything. I just love my brother. I just appreciate what my brother does for a living. I appreciate how my brother serves people. And I can be pro my brother and pro all the good he does in the world and not be anti any movement that has its time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can also be, like, stereotypically, capitalism.com leans a certain way politically, half of which I agree with, half of which I don't. I give a lot of attention to the things that I agree with, and I ignore the things I don't. So, like, some people want to argue with me about capitalism being dog eat dog, right? It being a I don't give any attention to any company that is dog eat dog. It doesn't exist to me. I only give attention to the businesses that are doing good in the world. Why? Because I want more of those. So we can worry about the things that other people will try and pigeonhole us into. But if you're just pro something and you lean all in on that, other people will run with you. Right? So it's like I gave the example at the beginning of the call. One of my best friends in college was a runner, and he would do half marathons, and other people would run with him. If he paused for a second to worry about the people who were slower, or to worry about the people who were saying, running is bad for your knees, like, he would slow down.
Right.
So the important thing is for you to be focused on who you're for and what you're for, and not worry about the people who want to give you negative feedback, or the people who disagree, or the people who have a slightly different perspective. That's all okay. You just be for what it is that you're for. And if you're all in on that, then it doesn't matter all the other stuff that comes out. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. What else can I do for you, Charmaine? Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here. Wow, this has been great. I mean, you know, even answering the LGBT one, right? And the other one is so far in the other direction, has nothing to do with that. But the same issues that I was having kind of solves both problems. And I have a new problem of having to make a choice. But that's a fun problem to have.
Well, so I want to answer one tactical thing that you said, which was about, you know, about selling, if you decide to sell the company. Because if you go all in on, some would call it a polarizing message. I'm just going to call it a pro message, you know, being pro whoever it is that you're for. you will attract that group of people faster than if you try to hedge.
Right.
And that will give you the ability to speak to that community and have bigger launches and to have a more profitable company, because you'll have raving fans and you'll have more people who want to buy that company. So you will actually grow faster by you being pro whoever it is that you're for. You'll grow faster and you'll be a more attractive company to buy if you go all in on that group. It's a strange counterintuitive thing, but by giving them to be raving fans, you'll actually have an easier time selling that. Now, you said something at the end of this, which was, now I need to pick. I want to invite you to consider something. You can document your journey as an entrepreneur within and your market, your followers being members of the LGBTQ community. You can document that and have a big audience while you are building out this other brand that you are going all in on. And you don't have to worry about monetizing the entrepreneur crowd. You can, but you don't have to, because you're still finding your footing and your message and all of this. And that way you don't have to pretend to be an authority. You can just say, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community and I want to make a lot of fucking money and I'm going to document my whole journey. If you want to follow, click here. And then you're talking about the new business, and some people are like, this is cool. They become your customers. Somebody reaches out and they want to invest in you. And now you get the best of both worlds. The challenge is Charmaine willing to just own who she is and who she serves without apologizing? Can she just be so pro who she is and who she serves that it doesn't matter what the outside voices say? And if she can, you are a millionaire by this time next year.
It's a great idea. You know, I never thought to blend both of those, but it does make sense, right? So I'll share a little bit about the other idea. The other idea, again, so far away, right? It's who I am, right? It's a person that grew up in the hood, honestly, and got out of there, was very successful, and continues to want to be successful. But I have a really shitty time sleeping. So bad at sleep.
Yeah.
So it's that person that, you know, it's success through sleep, right? Success happens overnight if you can just sleep better. But yeah, so the idea is build that, right? I mean, there's a lot of products I can think about, that young professional that's growing in their career, that's stuck a little bit. And it's just about, hey, you can get better sleep, you can get better productivity. That's really the archetype, right? And that's the one where I really enjoy that idea, right? It's a problem I've had for a while. And so fixing that, but doing that, building that while documenting the journey as an LGBT person opens up the gates for me to do the other one as well.
It does. And also your specificity on that product line allows you to speak about things that resonate with that audience in a way that you couldn't speak about if you were going more general. Like if your market is a person who grew up in the hood and can't sleep, then you can talk about violence and worries about money that kept you up at night. You can talk about the trauma that happens when you hear gunshots. You can talk about the trauma that happens when there's violence in your neighborhood, or you're not sure if your house is secure.
Yeah, I think I would probably avoid that. You know, it's more the journey of from not having much to becoming whatever you want, right? Yeah. That's a story that since I was a kid I've wanted to tell, because I didn't think I could. It took one person in my life to build me to that. But the sleep issue is just something that I've dealt with like all my life, right? Anxiety, insomnia, all that. It's just kind of realizing, hey, if you can sleep better, then you can do better things during the daytime.
Yeah. So let's tweak my messaging just a little bit, since you're getting more specific. Then the anxiety of not having enough, the anxiety of where's my next rent check going to come from, the anxiety of is my place secure because I live in the hood. Like all of those things are very real things that are specific to someone who grew up in a less fortunate situation. And so now your audience resonates with all of those things. Like, it doesn't matter where they came from. If they can resonate with that feeling of like, yeah, I know what it's like to be so anxious about money and security that I can't sleep at night. And it just so happens that when you can't sleep at night, you become more anxious, you become more this, more, right? So now you have a very specific message that resonates with, now it's actually an anxiety play more than it is a sleep play, which opens you up to other products and services and messages that you can speak to. So what I'm hoping to paint with you in this is that the sleep and the sleep hacks and the sleep supplements are all really a proxy to serving that person who struggles with anxiety and is building a different life for themselves. And you, if you can own that, then you've got somebody over an entire life cycle of their journey to overcome what they've struggled with their whole life. And that means you have lifelong customers who freaking love you, who are willing to pay a premium to work with you and your company because you've been an advocate for them the entire time.
Absolutely.
I love it. I think you have absolute clarity, and I would 100% endorse you going in this direction.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you accidentally bought my book.
Me too.